to the SorareAndrews podcast, brought to you by Sorare Data. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined, as always, usually by Andy Black, who you can find as Black on Sorare. Joined today to talk about some Liga MX because I am completely out of my element here. And whenever I want to talk about Liga MX, I'm like, Andy, I got a question. He's like, hold on. You really want to talk about Liga MX? I know who to talk to. And they're down here on the screens. We've got Pichi and Dylan, who has been with us, JDBurinho on Sorare. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this lesson to at least help me get better at Liga MX, and everyone who has joined us. And for everyone in the chat, apologies for the lateness. It was my fault, technical difficulties, which I'm not sure we fixed yet, so that'll be fun. Pichi, you have not been on, so I'm going to welcome you first.
Yeah.
You have been on Sorare for quite a while, and you told us yesterday that you might have a pretty impressive distinction as one of the first Mexicans on Sorare. Have you been able to confirm this?
I have not. It's just a guess. I hope it is true, but I'll leave it to the audience. If there's anybody else that has more time in Sorare, come out and say it. If not, I'll just take the title for now. But yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dylan, you were not a Liga MX expert the last time you came on our show here, and you've completely thrown yourself into this league. So how does it feel to be an expert in a league you didn't know existed, or you barely paid attention to a year ago?
Hey, Sorare data makes it easy. So anybody can dive into Liga MX. You throw some filters in there, and there's 4 players that you care about looking at. So it's not too hard.
I think you're being quite humble.
Maybe when they start adding some of the good teams.
Some what? Looks like I'm not the only one with technical difficulties today. But anyway, we're going to have a giveaway at some point of the show. Pichi has this incredible trivia question that trolls Andy a little bit, which is one of my favorites, and that's just going to be a little hint for what we're going to show. For those of you who have joining us live, thank you for doing so. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that's always appreciated. We do have a watch list for this discussion, just a bunch of guys that we wanted to talk about and kind of keep a tab of. If you would like to follow along, the link is in the description of this video. I believe it's unlisted, but we will publicly post it after this podcast, so you can just search for it anyway. But it is there. First off, Pichi, do you want to give us a little bit of the background of why you hate the 2-time reigning champions?
Well, I'm a Chivas fan. I cannot root for them. For those who don't know, Chivas and Atlas are the teams that are from Guadalajara, which is a very big city in Mexico. And Chivas is basically the most popular team in the whole country. While Atlas...
PG, when I initially asked you about this, I asked you if those two teams were rivals, and you said no.
Well, they are rivals. It's more like a Man City, Man United rivalry.
Okay.
It's more like El Tráfico or whatever.
Well, and I think historically, Chivas has always been a much better team.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not really a rivalry. It's just one team.
It's a rivalry for the people that are actual fans.
Okay.
It's not like the rest of the country doesn't really care. It's like Tigres and Monterrey. Only the people in the north care about that game. The rest of the country sees it as another game. The only actual game that it's like the derby, the Mexican derby, it will be the America and Chivas. Those are the most popular teams, and it's been the derby for a while now. So, but yeah, Chivas and Atlas, they have this rivalry, but it's solely because of the city, nothing less.
That's fair. And while you're on that, can you you were showing us before we went live, but could you show us this jersey that you're wearing?
Yeah, it's this jersey. I got it from my, let me see if I can show you the camera. From my cousin, she works or used to work for at Chivas back in 2017 when they were champions. The last time they were champions, actually, they have a lot of the signatures of every person, every player on that team. This is a Pizarro jersey, so that's Pizarro's right there. Pizarro's
cool.
signature.
It's awesome.
And yeah, she got it from me when she was working at Chivas back then. It's a cool jersey because it's the last time they were champions too. So it's something that I treasure very much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the season starts, is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yes, Friday.
This weekend. All right. It's June 28th. So we've got this weekend we can finally use our cards. Pichi, do you have, are most of your cards in your gallery from Liga MX?
I do have a lot of Mexicans, mostly the good ones. And I try to have the Chivas players that are covered by Sorare. But I don't really. I mean, until they add Chivas, I don't really have the need of having players from unless they're like really good and a must-have. But yeah, no, not really.
So Andy, you jumped on Santos early. You've expanded your gallery to a bunch of Atlas players. Like, what drew you to the Liga MX cards to begin with?
They were incredibly cheap and nobody was looking at them at all. Like, nobody was looking at them. So it was just hop on the auctions and buy these guys that honestly, most of them were not very good. I mean, Santos, I think that year made the playoffs and lost in the first round. They had a good year that following year. And then this past year they were god awful. But they do have useful players here and there if you find the right guys and and it's the right week, like Goria Rand's on sets or he's not, then you're not using him. But there are matchups, and if you follow the teams, there's little spots where you can find things that make sense.
They did seem like a pretty early on America differential, like before we had so many Brazilian teams and Argentinian teams, and they've expanded now to Peru and Chile. Like, if you didn't want to rely on MLS, which in some instances seems extremely sharp, you could have gone to Liga MX. Dylan, is that how you ended up there as well? Just like you didn't want to deal with the MLS guys, or did you look at Liga MX as more like a differential in terms of what everyone else is playing?
You there, Dylan?
It's almost like he doesn't know we're here. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So forget Dylan, even though we're just going to keep looking at him. So what are you expecting from this year? Like, it felt like, Pichi, it felt like every year, because I used to play Liga MX DFS, and it was like every year it would change over from tournament to tournament, and like every team would be different.
Yeah.
Or if like somehow the players were the same, but like the team itself was so different. Yeah. So we obviously have Atlas, who won the last two. I assume the expectation is that they'll still do well, although we'll go into something of like why they might blow the entire team up at some point. But are there any teams that you think that either were doing really good last year or last tournament, that shouldn't be as good this time around, or vice versa?
Well, I do have great expectations from Toluca because they have had like a very busy transfer market. They have had these new signings they look great in paper. You never know until they join, right? And even this other team that usually sucks, Juarez, they could be great too. I mean, they also have had like they got Talavera as their goalkeeper. He's like one of the best keepers in the league, and it's on Sorare too. So that's a great move for them. And they got a few other non-Sorare players that are pretty good too. And from a perspective of team that is good and could still be good. I don't know, maybe Atlas. They need to. I mean,
I
But
feel
just
like
they
you to
didn't
say that?
lose.
I
They
feel
didn't
like
lose any players.
I felt like America finished the season really hot, strong, and
They got a pretty good forward. He used to be there in Liga MX like last two seasons ago, and then he went to Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that, and then he sucked, and now he's
Yeah.
back.
they,
He's
they
back in
also
America.
they also signed a guy from La Liga
I don't remember who was it?
America.
Yeah,
I don't
who
know.
was
He's on our watch list. Let me find him. We were talking about him yesterday. Nestor.
Oh, Nestor Rajo.
Yeah.
Oh, Araujo. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's on the national team too. He could be great. He used to play for Santos before leaving to. He was at Celta, and he was decent over there. He was playing. He wasn't like the most dominant player, but he could be great in MX.
Yeah.
And in Jimmer, I think he has a stack over there, right? Like Ochoa and Araujo.
He does. Yeah.
That's nice.
I was telling him there was a super rare Nestor on the market. I was like,
Well, that's
you have-
right. You were
You have
pushing
to
him
buy
for
that because he has the rare Ochoa and
Yeah,
the
and
super
the super
rare
rare,
Ochoa. It's like
yeah.
you need to go get this both versions of Nestor too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the right time to get mine. I don't want to because it's America, but I already have Ochoa, so
I think you kind of have to.
yeah, I have to, right? Plus,
You
he's
just
on
love
the
those
national
cards that
team.
you just like have to buy because you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I have all the other pieces.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Um,
but
Yeah, I guess we should note that like SoRare don't have the entire league licensed, so it's just kind of a number of different teams. Although it seems like because of the player movement, we have guys on like almost every team anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
We
it's
don't have the
weird.
entire league, but like at one point, everybody's played for Santos or Atlas, right?
yeah,
The one thing that like I wanted to talk about with not having the full league is it brings you into situations where you have like I don't know those game weeks where there's only like one game or two games or what do they have 4 covered teams or is it 5 covered teams now in Liga MX?
so
It's
it's
Atlas, Santos, Nexica,
Pumas,
Pumas.
Querétaro, Necaxa,
5.
5.
Yeah, so but you have those game weeks where like they have a midweek or something, and it's just those 5 teams, and you can really kind of like that exclusivity of being able to maybe those are the only 5 teams in America, and kind of exploit that with a stack or something.
And
You
it's
had
gonna
that at the end of the year, didn't? Was it the end of the season during the playoffs?
It was it was between like MLS and there was a weird time. It was February.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was nice. I mean, there were weeks where there might have been like 3 people that could compete in the super rare division, or 25 people that could compete in the rare division.
you won a couple times, right?
Yeah,
Of
for
those
sure.
weeks.
And Dylan, I think Dylan won, or at least like might have podiumed or finished top 10, and Champion America Rare, where there just wasn't a lot of competition.
Yeah,
yeah. There was kind of a nice. It's weird because the schedule tends to align more closely with the European one than it does MLS. But yeah, you got that kind of like middle ground where they were like, SoRare clearly didn't want to open like the American division, but like there was 2 teams there, and they're like, okay, we'll open it.
yeah.
And there you were like, oh, I have 5 guys, perfect, lined up.
Right.
Let's go.
I was usually like 4 guys, and I was like, okay, I got to go buy another one.
Fair
You
enough.
gotta try.
Fair enough. Let's pull up this this watch list that we have here. Like I said to anyone watching, the link to the watch list is in the description of the video, so you can just pull this right up. I think this is the right one. Is that right, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find the list view easier to look at myself, but you can do whatever you want all the way on there you go. All right. So Pichi, are there any guys like new to the league that are on this list that you think we need to know?
That are coming from another league. Yes, I think there's this guy Salvio from Boca.
Yep.
He's moving to Pumas. He could be interesting. And then we have Orejas Flores from DC moving to Atlas, right?
Is
And
that
then
deal
there's
official? It is, right?
yeah, it is official.
He played in the Super Cup game.
Oh, we did. All right.
the
Yeah.
night before, yeah.
Him and Manotas. He moved. They made it official last night. Actually, they're both going to Atlas. And then there's Machis, right at the bottom.
He was supposed to go to Charlotte, right?
Right.
Yeah, he went to Juarez actually, and he's coming from La Liga. Let's see who else. And then there's Jürgen Damm. He used to play for Atlanta United, but he was pretty bad over there. He's moving to America. I don't think he'll start. He probably will. I don't know. They've been struggling on that position, so if he can be like constant, he could be there. And then Araujo.
Yeah, someone mentioned Troyansky.
He's leaving Atlas. He's already playing. Actually, I think he's. Where was he? I forgot.
Argentina is what it sounds
someone said he
like.
went to Union in Argentina.
Yeah, Union, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Santa Fe.
We've got Eats Gusto in chat saying that Flores is a bum.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he'll be. I mean, he was great when he was at Morelia. There was this season, only one season, where it was him and Rui Diaz both on the same team, and they crushed.
I assume he's kind of the Gyro replacement, right?
That's the expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also Chofis.
Oh, where's he back to?
I heard the rumor about him going back to Necaxa. But who knows? It's just a rumor.
So he had issues when he was at Chivas, right?
Yeah, he was like a problematic guy.
And then he came back to San Jose, and doesn't he have issues there now?
I was gonna say he was good there, and then he had issues.
Yeah, and that's why they don't want him anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's not injured or anything. It's just, I don't know.
Personal stuff.
Yeah, personal stuff. Yeah. And then you have Gudiño that recently moved to Atlanta. I could see him as the main keeper over there. He was the number one at Chivas at the beginning of last season. He was the number one for a while, and then I don't know, the management, something happened. I don't think he was bad at all, but then he went to the other keeper, and he just now he's moving to Atlanta. He could be great there.
We actually should talk. Andy, can you just go to the top and sort this by goalkeeper? Because I feel like we have previously talked, meaning you and I, there you go, that like you don't go to Liga MX, meaning Sorare managers don't go to Liga MX to find like high goal attacking players. But defensively, we have some pretty good options. We're not listing all of them. We just have 3 here that we wanted to talk about. But we obviously all, well, I don't know if all of us, but a lot of us are pretty heavily invested in Camilo Vargas from Atlas.
Yeah.
Pichi, do you have one?
I have a limited.
Okay, so we're all invested in him.
Yeah.
But these 3 guys, and I guess, I don't know if, Dylan, can you actually hear us and talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Do you want to tell us the news of why you got rid of your goalkeepers today, just for anyone who's not aware of the news who may be in the chat?
Yeah, sorry, I have no idea what was going on there. But yeah, probably who should have been one of the top 3 keepers in Liga MX, Esteban Andrada from Monterrey. He went down. He's out for at least 2.5 months, and then pitching. I think you said that he might be out the entire season if they actually do surgery.
Yeah,
So
that's what they said.
Yeah. You guys hearing me good? It's actually not laggy. It's good.
There's
Yeah.
there's a little feedback. Just
Yeah.
mute yourself when you're not talking.
Okay.
But yeah, so like if anybody has Andrada, you may need to not have it if you can. I believe.
Andrada. And then now Powell has like 2 or 3 of them.
So yeah, so we have Goalkeeper on this list who's heading to Atlanta, and I forget who I was talking to the other day about what's the guy's name in Atlanta? Rocco Rios,
Yeah.
Novo Rios.
Yeah.
I got those mixed up.
Rocco.
Yeah, so he's like 0.7, and Goalkeeper like surely takes over that job as soon as he's ready, which we don't have. I guess we have no cards, which is sort of a bummer. It's like another one of those situations that you can't really go into unless you want to somehow short Rocco Rios Novo. But the other two were Talavera and Alcala. Wasn't there talk yesterday that Alcala might not start now because of another transfer rumor?
Well, Dylan said that he wasn't starting in the preseason. So who knows?
Their Talavera backup from last season has been starting all the preseason games. So, yeah, beware Gillicala holders.
All right. PG, do you tend to stack your goalkeeper and defenders?
Yeah, usually.
And who do you have from Liga MX that you use?
Let's see.
Soon Nestor Araujo, right?
Yeah, I have to get him. I need to pair him up with Ochoa. And then let me see my gallery really quick. But I don't really have stacks from Liga MX. I do love to stack on other leagues because I have more options. But I do recommend it in especially if you have Atlas, because they usually have like a really good defensive. Like they that's how they play. Have everybody in the back and then just send long balls to Forge to then give it to Quinones.
Yep.
That's how it is always, or Quinones to Forge. So
yeah, it's usually Furch hide the ball,
Yeah.
and then they play it off to the wings.
yeah,
As somebody that has Vargas and Santa Maria, I can confirm that that's basically how they play. But the one goal conceded is just killer. They just don't. You're just dead at that point.
I will say the one funny thing with Atlas is you don't get a lot of performances where they don't get clean sheets, and like you still get decent enough scores. Like it's pretty much clean sheet or bust. Like you get the clean sheet, then both Vargas and Santa Maria will have a great game.
and it happens with Santos too.
Yeah, right.
Like the same situation.
Less so with Felix Torres. I feel like he had some games early in the season where he scored well regardless, but late in the season, both him and Doria were just
Awful.
basically awful because they
The whole-
weren't getting
the
any
whole
clean
team.
sheets. Yeah, whole team. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
That's
bad. Even Huevo. I just remember how you were.
We're going to talk about Huevo, I guess.
Just telling Zura to buy that Santa stack.
Yeah, well, he bought that on his own.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to get him to sell it to me for really cheap, but he didn't want to do that.
So does Bellama have it now?
Yeah.
It's not gone forever.
True. It's not like it's in Karupu's gallery or something.
Right.
It's not Powell's though.
Right. Could be someday.
We'll see. So who else do we have on this list that, like, why did you want to talk about?
Well, over there's Kevin Alvarez. He's not covered, but there's a rumor he might leave to PSV. So that's an interesting one. And then the other ones, it's just Araujo and Dominguez. I think he left to. Let me see.
Mozo left, right? He's not at Pumas anymore.
Mozo, he's at Chivas now.
So
yeah,
how many Mozo cards do you own?
Just rare and unlimited, I think.
Just two.
Dominguez left to Atlas, actually. From Necaxa to Atlas. And then Parra, he's going to Necaxa. He's moving from Monterrey to Necaxa.
So we should get that card at some point.
Yeah, I mean they're young. They could be useful. He didn't have any time at Monterrey, so maybe in Necaxa he'll be useful. Yeah. I don't know.
We keep talking about Atlas and losing players. Does someone want to explain why we think a lot of their players, why this team is potentially getting broken up in the worst possible way for Sorare?
I mean, unless they lose Quiñones, I think they'll be fine. There's a rumor about him leaving.
I think it gets much worse than that, and let Dylan break everyone's hearts.
Okay, yeah, I see that I got some awful echo going on. Is that still happening?
Yeah, it's okay.
Can you,
Black? I'll let you talk about this awful La Liga 2 team that just got bought. I think you're versed. I'm gonna try to move a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't even know the team name that they bought, but the group that owns both Atlas and Santos.
Right. Somehow, I guess we don't even want to bury the lead that the same group owns two teams within the league.
Yeah. Right. They bought is it Gijon or
Gijon.
Yeah. They purchased that team, and I guess there's a lot of rumors surrounding Atlas players transferring to this La Liga 2 side.
That sounds awful.
Yes,
it's a possibility.
And maybe become like sort of a feeder to Europe for these MX guys, which, you know, obviously for them that's great. It's a way overseas, but from a Sorare perspective, it's not ideal. Unless they, decide to cover La Liga 2.
I think I'd just rather not. I'd rather just my guys stay, please.
Maybe if they scored it, it'd be okay. We don't need all the teams. Just go ahead and score it for us.
Like the coverage.
Yeah.
Challenger 2. 2 Challenger. Whatever.
Will be like championship.
Oof. I don't know.
Unlikely.
I don't know. Should we go to midfielders quickly? There's a few people in the chat who have been calling out some names here. Carrillo is the one that I see.
Well, is Paye the rumor to Tigres?
The Tigres, yeah.
So they're trying to do they have like a French owner or something? Like, what's the deal there?
I think they just have like a good, I don't know, somebody that it's really good in relationship with all the teams in France or something. I don't know what's their deal, honestly, but they seem to get them. So they were I remember last season they were talking about Gigot was his name from Spartak, the French guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but that never.
And he's maybe going to Marseille now. I think is the latest rumor I heard.
Yeah, but they always try, and it's about the French. It's not about the French league. It's about the French guys for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Covan was such a success, so surely they want to try it again.
Yeah. Too bad Tovan wasn't that great.
I think Dylan's still waiting for that one to pay off. Dylan, you still have that card?
Florian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. This is his year with Luis Quinios away from the team. Him and Sotole Dino, or whatever he likes to call himself now that he's in Mexico. They're I think both of them have a shot at really producing this year. I'm gonna hold out a little hope. Florian, man, he can't handle the heat down in Mexico. He does not like that climate. He needs to be back in France. It's a little softer there for him.
That was I really don't see Payet going, but like maybe I'm just not reading enough of people who are more involved. But it seems like an odd move. Although to be honest, the other ones were kind of weird, like seemingly felt random. Like
Yeah,
was Tauvin there first, or was it
Gignac.
Gignac was there
I
first?
mean, he was like a bomb because
He was awesome.
he was awesome back in France, and then suddenly he moved to Tigres, and everybody was like, "What? What's going on?" Nobody expected it.
But he was pretty good at the beginning at Tigres.
He's always been good, actually. He's never had like a bad season. Never. Like he's always scoring goals. He was again the best forward this season, although I believe Forge deserved it more than him. But whatever. And
Is he the best player we don't have a card of?
probably in MX, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
36.
And about budget, I mean, it's about money in this case. I'm sure they can pay him, so we'll see.
We've got a few more people throwing out names here. Fabio Alvarez. Do we have that on the list?
He's leaving. He's leaving Pumas. He's moving to Argentina.
Talleres, apparently.
Speaking of the best player that we don't have, Big Mac, I guess is what I'll call him. That's the one funny thing to me about MX is there's not really any players in the league that are like, this guy's game breaking. We have to have them on the platform or whatever. Like, there's no Cezinhas or Carlos Gills and MX. They just don't exist. Like, yeah, I see Diego Valdez. He's good, but I mean, just go look at his score graph. He's good, and it just above average or a lot above average. I don't know, but he's not outstanding. Like, he's not like a broken guy, and the league just doesn't have that.
Yep.
We had for a little bit, wasn't Fernando Gorriarán like, what did Sean call him? Mexican Tony Cruz? Like, he had a run that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's when he was on sets, but
yeah,
even then, like, you go look at that run. I guess I could probably pull it up here. It was good. It was really good, but I don't know that he was like completely broken.
I just remember, I think it was further away than that. Like, I just remember that right summer, I was just like, man, I felt just dead without him. And that was a weird feeling.
What is this, like game week 100, 150 here, where he was just kind of a stud?
He was playing a more offensive role back then.
Yeah.
And he was scoring more goals, having more assists.
I mean, he was on PKs, he was on corners, he was on everything.
Yeah, he did everything, yeah.
Yeah. And then Wevel finally got into the field, and that's when everything changed.
Yeah, and he's still fine. Like, you look at his scores, he's okay.
It's an excellent all around.
Yeah.
Good floor player, I guess. I don't know.
He's one of those that I would describe as a good super rare.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately is just expensive anyway. But
yeah.
Martin's saying Diego Valdez is pretty good if you filter out his subs and DNPs, which is kind of a funny thing to say since, like, we obviously need to include those, but I get that.
Yeah, he was great to end the year, but he's very decisive dependent for a mid.
Yeah.
But when he does get the decisives, he's got those 80+ scores. I mean, look at these; it's great.
But only one
there
over
was
90.
A run last year when Valdez was just scoring at like the 85th minute. And it's like, man, when is that run good gonna kind of run out for him? But if you do it every time, like, that's part of your game, right? So it's tough to deny Diego Valdez. And I think I know we've been kind of focusing on transfers here a lot, but it's like, man, compare Valdez and look at similar players when you talk about his similar players that pops up on Sorare.
Oh,
data. It's like, and if you, but even if you filter to America, it's like, look at the MLS counterparts for him. You got like Diego Fagundes, which is like an ETH. You know, you you can really get some good deals on some of these guys. And I think Valdez is like what 3.5 or a 0.35 and 0.4, something like that. So it's like you can find some, and like Luncho Acosta, he's like cheaper than that, and he puts up like the same kind of scores. It's like it's severely undervalued in my opinion, Valdez and a lot of these guys.
You got some favorites on that list too there. Andy Montero and Paulie Nips. It's all there.
Yeah, Paulie Nips, I'll take Valdez 100 out of 100 times. So in that choice, no doubt about that.
Oof.
He's on a hell of a run though, Paulie.
Would you pay points for Paulie Nips?
No, I sold him for like 0.06
Oh man.
at the beginning of the season.
I think I sold Fagundes like a year ago for like 0.01.
Yeah.
Rare, not limited. It was awful.
Which, don't get me wrong, Fagundes is great, especially if you compare him with like Drusy and stuff. But it's like in a vacuum, 0.4 for Valdez, you can't beat it.
Everyone's saying
See
keep
someone
pumping
else
Valdez.
talking about Eric Lira. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we keep pumping Valdez, then it's not a good buy anymore. So I don't know.
Right. But then I think someone was talking about Eric Lira. I was like, you can win Eric Lira here today with your Cervantes. You know, same player there. Gory's going to be great when Carrillo subs in for Huevo in the 60th minute. So then Gory will have all his sets and his PKs.
I don't want to like jinx it at all, but was last tournament like the fittest that Lozano has been in like 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was fine. Not amazing.
What was that?
He wasn't awful. He just
Yeah,
weren't
he was
scoring
okay.
enough goals.
He was okay.
But like, what was that injury? Like, I don't think any of us here have seen it. Did you actually see it?
I didn't see the play, but it was a broken femur, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
the leg.
Like
Yeah.
Horrific injury. So maybe this is his year. I'm
was
a
1
Carrillo
year.
fan, so
Yeah, that one was like a full year. I remember he
Yeah.
was one of the first cards I bought on the platform because I remember he was like a great DFS player. And I was like, oh, I'll set this guy like sets for Santos. They're good.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And I knew he was out for like a long time. And I was like trying to play that injury game. And then it was like, oh yeah, he's going to be come back next month. And then like next month would come and they'd be like, yeah, just like it's 4 more weeks. We're
And then
good.
he got like multiple surgeries,
So many like,
and then
setbacks.
till he was back.
It was good to see him back though.
Yeah, I remember Black was buying all of them, and then he told me that one guy on Discord was like, "Man, you should let some for us." You remember that?
I do. But it's funny because like I was buying them at like bargain bin prices because he was just a DNP guy.
Yeah.
And I think some people kind of knew who he was, that maybe they had played DFS or something and kind of had an idea that he was a good player. But I mean, I think around the price that I was buying him back then he's still maintaining that a bit. I think I was maybe 0.05, 0.06 was a lot of my buys. So I don't know. It's probably in the end turned out good.
You still have 4.
Yeah, right. Look at that.
Is that a super rare too?
It is, yeah.
And
A couple 101s.
Ones, yeah. That's
You're just
nice.
missing 2 colors to the rainbow.
Yeah. Yikes.
It's there, don't worry. Somebody was asking if Fafa Picault is going to Liga MX.
I heard that rumor, but I haven't seen nothing like really official. That's why I didn't include it. It's more like somebody said it and it's out there, but no real interest.
Yeah. I will say, and we were kind of talking about this before, which is why we wanted to have you on, Pichi, that like it doesn't seem like the league news leaves Mexico much, or like if you're all of the news is like out in Mexican media.
It's actually only exactly. It's not about the country. It's about the media. Like over here, I get a lot of coverage, like a lot. I could even say maybe more than back in Mexico. because they cover it pretty well. TUDN, they have like the best news. Well, it's not the best news, but at least they own the league's right, so they do most of the coverage in the US. So it's pretty nice. I get a lot of information. ESPN is really good too. But yeah, if you go to the Mexican sites, you'll be fine. Outside from it, I don't know. It's pretty hard to get some information even in English.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like we're the biggest edge right now because like we see like anytime somebody is rumored, like you go to their limited cards and you just like spike up of like everyone finding the news, and then maybe it comes down a little bit, and then when the news is official, like it goes back up, and like you don't get that like two different peaks with Liga MX news. It's like just when it's official and the guy's there holding his shirt up, and you were like, oh yeah, I bought that card 6 weeks ago when the news was out.
Oh yeah,
and everyone's like, well, what news? And you're like, yeah, the news is out there. You just have to know where to find it, basically.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's like willing to do the work is there. Sam's asking us to talk about Mangulo.
So I have a good segue to Mangulo. So he loses his U23 this weekend. Both Dylan and Pichi, I'll present this question to you guys. Is there any U23 players that we should be keeping an eye on in MX? Is there anyone worth a damn, or is it just
probably.
He started 3 games last year.
He could get more minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know.
Who's that?
Carrillo.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I think the short answer, Black, no. Because the 2 best U23 players were Carrillo and Gerardo of Necaxa. Hopefully we get his card this year. He's like 17, 18, something like that. But they're like the best U23 players. And they were up for Rookie of the Year.
Right.
And Carrillo won, and he barely even played. It's like not a lot of good young players.
I threw something out in our chat. He started like 3 or 4 games all season. 2 of the games he was subbed off at halftime, and one of them he had a red card in like the 15th minute, and he's Rookie of the Year.
I mean, he scored like 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
I have a good one. Macias from Chivas. He's covered, and he's been great on the preseasons. I have great expectations from him. Hopefully he finally finds his shape, because he was great back when he was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Is there a reason we don't see a lot of these young players in MX? Do they leave before they're good enough, or once they're good enough, do they leave?
They don't get enough chances. That's the real problem with MX.
Yeah.
They get 2-3 games, they suck, and they're like, you're not ready yet. We'll just keep you in the second division, because there's this league that it's called the Expansion League, and that's where all the youth players are. And once they are good over there, they bring them to the main team, but they don't actually get a chance. So it's pretty tough.
I also feel like the really promising ones leave before they're given a chance.
That's also true.
Like Linus, and who's the guy from Santos Laguna? I bought his card. He plays for like Newcastle's youth team now.
Yeah, Munoz.
Yeah.
Munoz.
Yep.
Linus was amazing. He was 16 years old. He played every single game. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, he should have stayed a little bit more before going to Europe. And a lot of people will say that was his mistake, leaving so young, because he was great. He had the minutes. He was scoring goals and everything. He was great, and then he left. And I mean, he's still good, but he just doesn't play. So it's hard for the young players, because they either leave and are really good, like Edson Alvarez.
Yeah.
He was also great in America. Amazing defensive midfielder. He went to Ajax. He struggled a lot, like the first season over there, and now he's smashing. So
yeah, he had a great year. I remember you told me to buy Edson.
I told you
at the beginning of the year, and I was like, oh well, because it looked like the spike had already happened. I was like, oh, I'll wait till the price comes down a little bit.
And it
I
never
always do that too. It's just like, I think I can get a better deal, and nope.
Yeah,
Pichi, you have a defender card too, don't you?
I have the defender card,
Yeah.
which is great.
That's
I
such a cheat
regret
code, that card.
I was about to buy the super rare back then. I didn't have the ETH, and I just regret it. I should have asked Black for a loan.
I like this
Yeah.
question that we had. Where did that go? From Martin here. What would your ultimate Liga MX SO5 team be?
Let's see. I
You
will
wanna go
have.
first, Pichi?
Yeah, I'll go first if you don't mind. I will have, I think, Ochoa, and then Angulo, Valdez, and I'm gonna go with Macias at top because I think he's gonna smash. He has to. It's his time. And the extra player, maybe Quiñones, 2 forwards on top.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of stacking. I don't think you can go wrong. I think they're going to be very comparable this year, Vargas and Santa Maria, or you can go with Ochoa and Nestor. I think that's going to be very like the top 2 stacks this year,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Then Valdez, like there's no better mid. If you need to go a little cheaper, maybe like Rocha if he's staying. And then, Quiñones for sure. And then I'm like Sam. I love me some Angelo. I'll put a double defender back there.
Love it. Oh, speaking of, I don't know if anybody mentioned Furch. He's got the nasal surgery. He's going to be out a
Something
few
with the
weeks.
mouth.
Yeah.
He had a botched root canal, so
Yeah.
Furch is going to be out the first 3 weeks. So there might be a nice little buy opportunity there. Some people panic selling right away, but don't worry because Ozil Herrera will probably start the first 2 games and flop like he always does. We want to talk about one young player in MX that's actually gotten some chances. It's Herrera. So that's a case study in why not to give any of these players, these young players, chances. Because
Manotas could get some minutes too.
What's that?
Manotas, he could get some minutes too.
Yeah. He just got official, right?
Yeah. I'm just going to answer this question from Sam. He's asking why Hector Herrera didn't come to Mexico. Money. That's it. They just he even had offers from other teams in Europe, and he just took the money instead.
Do you think Hector Herrera is just going to smash in MLS?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I do hope so because he's the type of player that could have a great all-around and then a few assists or goals every now and then. So I could see him.
In
being
Houston,
pretty good.
is he going to be on sets?
I think he's going to be on everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Because he even was on sets on Atletico. He was taking the corners whenever he played the free kicks. So I do believe he will be there.
Let's take a peek.
I was just about to say, yeah.
Man, he just looks old.
So he'll really revitalize the fan base in Houston too.
I wish we
so bad is the problem. Like,
I wish we had a picture from his old self. Did you guys know he had like a facial reconstruction, like completely made over?
really?
Completely.
Was he in a car
If
wreck
you
or
see
something?
him, you
Witness
can Google
protection.
it. You can Google it. Probably not, but he was. I don't want to offend him, but he wasn't the most handsome man.
Not to change subjects, but Martin in chat brought up Luis Reyes, and Dylan and I have a fun story on Luis Reyes. We were at a local establishment that serves Mexican food and drinks, and we were watching the Atlas. It was the final, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first leg of the final against Pachuca.
Yeah, and he was Luis Reyes. He may have played. Did he play center mid in the previous game too? Yeah, and he just smashed. And we were sitting there watching the Pachuca game or whatever, and he was playing center mid again and just totally smashing. And we looked at each other and we're like, do we need to buy him now?
He scored a goal, didn't he?
Yeah, or had an assist or something. He scored like 80 points in that game. We're like, do we?
Yeah.
we need to buy him. And we both agreed. I think we both bought one that night.
Yeah, the thing with Reyes, he's one injury away from moving back to left back, and then he's just a left back that has some sets.
Well, and that injury might have just happened, right?
Yeah, well, I found out that Chala was suspended for that glorified friendly for some reason. So I do think that Reyes starts the season at center mid. So I think he'll still get that. But it's like, when does the ball drop? Because he's not going to score every game. You know, he's gonna start losing those points for lost possession at some point. You know, matchup is king, so you can kind of play the matchups, right? Especially in Mexico, you always want the home matchups, and then there are some real bottom feeders. You guys might have already talked about that. But yeah, once he moves back to left back, or when that ball kind of just drops, he's not going to. He's probably. I'm not sure this is sustainable. For 0.1, maybe. But for like 0.4 when we bought him, like, yeah, it was great. Yeah, you can see the last 3 games.
Yeah,
right.
I remember when I got Vargas, and I was like, oh, I need like a defender to pair with him. And I was like, wait, they have a defender who takes set pieces. I'm like, I'm buying this guy. And then I saw the scores, and I was like, what? How does this work? And
really
like,
bizarre.
No, left back, that's not going to work for me.
Loses a million possessions a game.
Yeah, especially in MX.
Right.
Yeah. And then I see kind of like that we're getting some talking points here. Harold Persido is just mentioned in the chat. I think that kind of brings up a bigger question for me. What's one transfer, any of you guys, that you guys are really excited about?
I would like to actually talk about Preciado first, since I won him today.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was what I was going to say. Preciado just came in. He just came in beginning or like middle of last year, so I'm going to count as a transfer.
Yeah.
But he's going to be great. I'm really excited for him. I think he's going to have a big year, and like Santos is probably going to run the same 11, even though they finished like 13th out of 17th or whatever. So assuming that Santos does a little bit better, I think he's going to have a massive year. So he's a really great. Well, shoot, he's 0.4 now. My goodness. But then him and like Ricardo Aguirre, who Necaxa sold to Monterrey. I think those are 2 guys that are really going to show up in that forward spot.
Sweet. Pichi, were you going to say something about him?
No, I just remembering you won him today, so it's nice to get some insight from him.
I'm absolutely shocked he's 0.4. That just seems way too high. But
yeah.
Yep, he's already went through a little pump.
And it looks like his limited really hasn't changed a ton, right? A little bit, I guess.
A little bit. That's a lot for a limited.
Yeah.
And then someone just dropped in Manchus and Talavera for Juarez. Yeah, Juarez is trying to splash some cash. They were after Rocha for a minute too.
They
could be better. Manchus could come in and really do some damage. He's another one that's up there with that Harold Presido and Ricardo Aguirre.
Yeah, the problem is the team. They have never been good at all, and they fired Tuca, who was the only good thing about the team. So I don't know how it will go.
But other than that,
we can just expect, because Talavera is a great keeper. I mean, defensively they could be decent. They got Dueñas. He used to play for Tigres and he was okay. But we'll see. I don't know. Some players always struggle with the changes. Some other adapt really quick. So we'll see.
Hey, so Talavera has stayed so cheap, and I'm going to call 0.4 cheap, but he is because he's 39. What do you think about him, Pichi? You think he's going to play for one more tournament at least past this?
He'll play 3 more years.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Most of the good, like the really, really good keepers, they play after 40. There was this iconic keeper. The nickname was Conejo, which is rabbit. Conejo Perez. He played until he was like 42 years old. Sorry, that battery was dying. 42 years old or something like that. He retired. He was playing, actually. He was not just a bench player. He was actually playing. So, yeah, I could see him at least 2 more years, 40, 41, before he retires. I don't know what's the contract for him, the one he got for Juarez. But at least he'll play through that contract.
That seems young.
Yeah, Cho is young.
36. Yeah, he's super young.
And there's rumors about him going to MLS,
I've seen some of those.
and it'll probably happen next year. I don't know.
By the way, I will say one of the cool things about his card is isn't that the Liege kit there?
Yeah, standard.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like we're talking about how great Ochoa is and how great that America stack is going to be. Gosh, there's 22 rare cards. It's like good luck getting one,
But I think if you own Ochoa, you have to go out and get Nestor.
Yeah,
You just have to do it.
because there won't be many stacks.
And you have the hard part, so you're one of 22 people. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Somebody in chat said there were Lozano MLS talks.
I have not seen that, but I have not been paying attention. The only thing I had seen is his hometown Uruguayan team that he wanted to go back to and support at some point.
Yeah, Peñarol.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's staying. I don't know if he's moving to MLS. He could be good over there, I think, but you never know.
It just has to be the right situation where he's getting to do what he wants to do and he gets sets and stuff.
The right team for him.
Yeah.
I mean, really just has to stay fit, right? Like, realistically, he's perfectly fine as long as he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, set pieces and the right team is helpful, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I want him going to Vancouver, and I don't know. Maybe Vancouver is a bad example, but there's probably teams you don't want him on. But then again, is there anything worse than being at Santos right now? I don't know. Or last year,
Yeah.
at least.
They haven't got any new players, and they seem to be going with the same lineup, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Is that stubbornness, or do they think that their guys underperformed?
Or they don't want to spend any money. I don't know. They spent it on the new team. They don't have anything else to spare for the actual teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the only changes to that 11 could be there's always that Prito and Cervantes battle. Who knows what happens there? Javier Correa came in after he flopped in Mexico a couple seasons ago, but he's not any worse than Eduardo Aguirre. So maybe they go with more experience and bench another kid like Aguirre and go with Correa. So I'm pretty down on Santos until they start playing their kids.
Yeah. Carrillo could get more minutes, probably. Who knows if he'll be great, but
I feel like I've been saying that for like the last 3 years. It's Correa season. It's Correa.
Yeah. Maybe it is. We'll see.
Yeah. So what do we think with the covered teams? Where do we think they kind of finish? Who's going to dominate those home matchups? Keep those clean sheets that we were kind of hoping for. Where do we think Atlas finishes this year?
Out of those 5 teams?
Well, just like placement in the table. Do we think another top 4?
Top 4, maybe.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that they're going to have, have a down year. 2 championships in a row. They're going to be a little hungover, and we're going to have an outside of the top 4 finish for Atlas.
They're making playoffs, though.
Sure.
Top 8.
Everybody makes the playoffs.
I mean, top 12.
Santos going to make it this year?
Ugh.
They're going to
Except
regress a
Santos.
little positively, I think.
You know what? I think they will make the playoffs. They'll
They need
squeak in
to.
10th place.
I think Necaxa sneaks in there. Their goalkeeper's great.
He's good.
They shouldn't. I'm not worried about the offense because they sold their best player, Ricardo Aguirre, to Monterrey. So we'll see. But I think their defense will be good enough to get in there. Santos, we'll see. Club America might run away with the league. Tigres could outscore them, though, because of Big Mac. We'll see if we get some good SO5, windfall because of that. Maybe some Solito or Florian. Maybe they'll actually keep some clean sheets this year, because that seems to be their MO and why Angelo was a little bit down last year. They just outscored everybody and didn't care about defense. So hopefully this year the defense is a little bit better and Angelo gets back to his Atlas self.
To get back quickly to the U23 question, there have been some expectations, I think, from some people that David Ochoa is going to end up in Liga MX.
That's a good segue.
That's all I hear, though. I don't hear teams. I don't hear anything else. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's going to go play in Mexico.
San Luis, I think, right?
Plays for the national team.
Yeah, San Luis. Because it was it was because of Atletico de Madrid, actually. Like they wanted to buy him and then loan it to San Luis. So that was the rumor. And then Chivas also was in there too, but I never heard any official bids for him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we've heard any specifics.
And then he barely plays now, so
right. I mean, surely wherever he goes, the expectation is that he starts. He doesn't seem like it seems silly to make a move if you're not going to start. So there's that.
Yeah, and there's also the national team expectation too. So
right.
To be fair, he also doesn't hold any cards right now because it's not like he has a starting position or a contract at his current club. So,
yeah, he'll take anything, I guess.
Yeah, I guess what is he out of contract this summer or this winter? I don't know. Either way,
I think any of the MLS contracts end summer usually, and
okay.
if you start in MLS.
I mean, he's no Slonina that he's rejecting Real Madrid and whatnot, right? So.
Right.
Should we do the trivia question? Andy, do you want to pull up the card that you're giving away here for the contest? We're going to have some Liga MX trivia, and the winner, it depends on how many people I think are going to do this, but we are going to say whoever, the number of people get it right, we were going to use some sort of Jimmer dedicated spin wheel to oh my gosh, look at all these cards. Wow, what was that? Anyway, so this is the card. Alan Cervantes, is that 57 of 100?
It's a rare card.
Yeah.
A rare card indeed. So throw your answers in the chat if you get it. We would appreciate no cheating, but props to those who can Google faster than anyone else as well. So Pichi, do you want to say this? Give everyone the question.
Yeah. So the question is, who was the last Mexican to win the Golden Boot at Liga MX?
Do they do that per tournament, or is it
They do it every tournament, which
every
is
tournament? All right.
Twice a year.
Right.
Yeah, like they won. Guignac won the last one.
Okay.
He probably won the one before that.
He's won it 6 times.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anyone puts it in, I think there's a non-zero chance that we don't get a correct answer, although I guess surely somebody ends up cheating. But yeah, throw your answers in. I actually don't think we're going to need a spin wheel based on the first couple answers.
Yeah, those answers are so off.
Yep.
Well,
I see a lot of non-Mexican answers.
Yeah,
that's another good one
There's
too.
one. Somebody said Angel Reina. He was the one before the last one.
Ooh,
Almost got it.
There we go.
Oh man, that's it.
Skate Perez wins. Oh, wait a minute. Oh wait, did I see? Now
Skate
everybody's
Perez.
jumping.
Wait, yeah, I saw Skate Perez's first, and then I saw Oliver's. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do a spin-off.
Now we have to do the spin wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So who do we have here? We've got
Arsenal dude, or not Arsenal dude. I would do Oliver and Javier.
I think that's fair.
And the runner-up will get a limited card of. Do I have two Carrillos? I do. Yes, I do. We'll get
Now
a
everybody's
Jordan
deciding
Carrillo.
to guess Polito. I guess we should have. So since you have the screen sharing, I think you have to do the spin wheel as well. I don't know what the official Jimmer spin wheel is, though.
Oh, let me see if I can.
But that's the real. That's really why people come.
I believe he uses Wheel of Names.
I think that's right.
Jimmer will appreciate that we're using his tool.
This is how, for those who don't know, this is how Jimmer decides who to play in his lineups.
Hope I spelled that right. Oliver.
AI. There you go.
All right.
Maybe we'll have everyone else compete for the limited card. We'll add the extra names in there, but
Yeah, that's fun. So let's see who gets the Cervantes rare.
This is really
great content.
Podcasting for people listening to the audio version.
Looks like Skate Perez is going to pull it down.
There it is. Let's add some other names. Let's take him out. Yeah, keep Oliver in there for the second place. But let's see. Let's add Arsenal dude. And Yehonatan. Yehonatan. Snidizzy. That's easy. Olympic manager. Oh, wow. We got a lot of people who cheated here. Let's put in Christian. And then Lautaro. And ELMT 20. Martin. Javik. And let's see, Robert Cox. With an X.
Gotta be careful how to spell that.
And then Natan, Natan, and that's it.
All right, cool. Give her a
There's
spin.
a nice number of people here.
All right, this is
When
for.
Manzo wants in.
Oh yeah, let's get
Manzo definitely needs this card.
Manzo, if you win this, you have to sell me the Huevo unique for really cheap. Okay.
Just trade it. It'll be a trade.
Yeah, trade.
You got to give me a sweet Pal Trader deal. Okay.
This is exciting here. And the winner is Lautaro.
All right, cool. So
Ooh.
I guess the winners drop your Discord name in chat, and I will shoot you a message.
There it is. Appreciate your generosity there, Andy.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like getting more people involved in Liga MX. Is there anyone that we didn't talk about that we'd like to hit up in our last minute or so?
I would just like to say, Jeremy Marquez, please do not go to La Liga 2.
Do we want to Do we want to talk about the changes on the tournament?
Oh, yeah. The most fun thing that we completely forgot to talk about. Yeah. Why don't you tell everyone, because I bet very few people in chat know or listening know this exciting new rule that they're trying that might not be exciting at all.
Yeah, it probably will be unnoticeable at all, but we'll see. So apparently the Liga MX was chosen as one of the pilot leagues to have this new implementation where they stop the clock every time the ball goes out of bounds, but only on throw-ins and goal kicks. So what I heard, because they actually did this in the game, the Sunday game, the Cruz Azul versus Atlas game. They tried it. I didn't notice anything, to be honest, and you cannot tell because the clock keeps going on the transmission. Like whoever is transmitting the game, they don't stop the clock, so you cannot tell if they are actually stopping it or not. So it's just about goal kicks and throw-ins for now, and it's going live this weekend. They say that it will be more about don't waste time. Like they'll be more strict on the time they spend during goal kicks and throw-ins. If they take like a lot of time, they'll have like this. I don't know if they are going to track the time they take or whatever. They cannot take more than a certain amount of time, and if they do, they'll start getting yellow cards. So that's the expectation. Like if more yellow cards for time wasting, and unless they actually show the yellow card, we won't notice if they are actually tracking the time.
So you gave your opinion on what it's supposed to do. What I noticed was it didn't save any time. They still rolled around on the ground and wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
All of the time wasting to me happens on like injuries and either goals or fouls. They're wasting so much time on those plays, and it's like, a goal kick, they might waste an extra 5 seconds or something. But in the Super Cup game that was just this weekend or whatever, there was. I barely noticed a difference.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll see. Unless they start adding more events, I don't see we'll notice any difference. The expectation is to add it for every time the ball stops.
If they do that, though, won't the games end up being like an American football game where it's like 3 hours long?
It is like that's the comparison, but they want to reduce to 30 minutes effective time with this new rule. So
that's
probably
bizarre.
Even out somehow. Like the games won't be 45 minutes anymore. It will be 30 minutes, but need effective time.
They better leave my Atlas clean sheets alone.
That's
all
was,
that really.
Agreed.
Honestly, that was one of the opinions that I kind of had of it. It was like if you're stretching out the length of the game, the likelihood of a goal is higher. So, like, does that mean fewer clean sheets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Does that mean more sweet all-around action for Vargas and Santa Maria? Maybe.
More passing. Passing the ball around for the game to just be over. I don't know.
Atlas doesn't do passing. They
just
move the ball downfield.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know what was funny? Sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but like Martin Nervo, he got best defender in Liga MX. You look at his Sorare scores, and it's like, oh, what a shame, because he's the designated hoof it man a lot. So kind of a bummer there.
Yeah, some of the people that win those prizes make no sense at all. I mean, at least Sorare wise, but you cannot see everything just on the Sorare eyes.
That's not fun. We had one last question that I did. Pichi, do you go anywhere to see expected lineups? Is there like a single place you go?
Not really. I just do my own research. Like I just search for the players I have and the usual media sites I have for injuries, which is, like I said, just the Mexican sites. Yeah. Everything's Spanish.
There's a couple sources where I've seen entire lineups like a few days early. So dig around in the, Mexican media and you might find it.
Yeah, the good thing is they don't rotate that much.
Yeah.
At least the covered teams. And
I would say Atlas and Santos went the entire last 2 years, I feel like, without rotating. There might be injuries or suspensions, but very few DNPs where it's just like, whoa, where is he? Like it's.
Yeah, even Marquez, when he started being benched. Like we kind of saw it coming, because even the coach was saying that he wanted him to level up a little bit before he can be started again and whatnot. So it's pretty predictable, I'll say.
Start knocking on wood right now.
Unless you're talking,
Yeah,
unless
we'll
you're
see.
talking about Quintaro, all bets off with those guys. But yeah, everybody else is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, cool. Pichi, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on and teaching us all much more about this league that is starting up this weekend. Thank you to everybody in chat who has joined us. It was always helpful when you guys throw out some names out there for us to talk about. So thank you for that. If everybody wouldn't mind hitting the like button if you're watching on YouTube, it's always appreciated. And of course, rate and review wherever you listen. Sean and I will be on later this week for the strategy show. We're going to talk about all these new game modes that Sorare announced today. If you came here to talk about that, sorry, you got Liga MX. But Sean and I will be here Friday for that. And then Andy and I back next week for another SorareAndrews. So guys, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later.